a woman named Amina. She was known for her gentle nature and kind heart. Amma had a sister named Busi, who was married to a man named Musa. The two sisters were close, sharing their joys and sorrows. One fateful night, Amma's life took a dark turn when Musa, her sister Busi's husband, took advantage of her, leaving her traumatized and broken. When Busi discovered Amma was pregnant, her reaction was filled with hatred and venom. She accused Amma of seducing her husband, making nasty remarks and treating her with contempt. The weight of Amma's secret grew heavier with each passing day, and when her baby girl, Tetana, was born, Busi forced Musa to take the baby from her. Busi and Musa conspired to kick Amma out of their house by planting money in her bags and reporting her to the police. Amma was falsely charged with theft and arrested, leaving her unable to bond with her newborn daughter, Tetana. The betrayal and injustice tore Amma apart, as she faced the harsh reality of her situation from behind bars. As the years went by, Busi's attitude towards Tetana changed drastically. She began to mistreat the child, constantly complaining about her and subjecting her to harsh treatment. Unaware of her true parentage, Tetana endured the abuse in silence, and the once warm and loving home became a place of tension and resentment. Meanwhile, Amma's sentence was reduced from 3 years to 2 years for good behavior. Although she was told not to come close to the house, she couldn't help but watch her daughter from a distance as days turned into weeks. She longed to be reunited with Tetana, and counted down the days until she could hold her in her arms again. Finally, the day came when Amma felt ready to confront Musa and ask for her child back. With a mix of hope and trepidation, she entered Musa's office. The walls seemed to close in, almost as if they were listening to the tension that crackled in the air. Musa shifted uncomfortably, avoiding Amma's piercing gaze. As she demanded to know the whereabouts of her daughter, Musa stammered and finally blurted out the devastating news that Tetana had passed away and had been buried. Amma's world came crashing down, her heart shattering into a million pieces. To add to her anguish, Musa showed her a fake tombstone with Tetana's details, a cruel manipulation meant to rid him of Amma's pleas. Tears streamed down Amma's face, and her body shook with sobs as the full weight of the loss and betrayal consumed her. Musa's face flushed with embarrassment, his cowardice laid bare before the woman whose life he had destroyed. Amma's sorrow and fury filled the room, a testament to the depths of her grief and the cruelty of Musa's actions. Amma screamed in agony, tears streaming down her face, as she was escorted out of Musa's office. Musa felt a twinge of embarrassment at Amma's heart-wrenching reaction, but remained unmoved by her pain. Amma's heart shattered into a million pieces as she walked the streets, looking lost and desolate, burdened by the unbearable loss of her beloved daughter and the cruel twists of fate that had befallen her. When Tetana turned 5, Busi's patience wore thin. Frustrated with Tetana's preference for spending time with the house help and her constant misbehavior, Busi confronted Musa with a cold, cruel demeanor. "I don't understand why you had a girl instead of a boy," Busi snapped. "You know I haven't been able to fall pregnant, and when I do, I believe I'll have a beautiful baby boy, not this ugly, useless girl of yours. I can't stand her anymore. If she were a boy, things would be better." Busi's manipulation worked in her favor, as she had always been the one making more money than her husband, Musa. As Musa tried to calm her down, Busi's resentment only grew. "Maybe we should just take her back to her mother," Musa suggested, hoping for a more compassionate solution than the orphanage. "Listen, Musa, we need to do an exchange, that's all," Busi retorted sharply. "If you love me the way you say you do, then take Tetana to an orphanage and exchange her for a boy, or you can kiss this marriage goodbye. After all, what are we going to tell Amma? That suddenly her daughter is alive. Don't you think this will cause more complications? You know I'm the one doing well financially." Musa felt trapped by Busi's demands and the cold logic she presented. Her financial success and unyielding determination left him feeling powerless. Torn between his love for his wife and the child he had wronged, Musa reluctantly agreed, knowing that his compliance was the only way to maintain their fragile marriage. Busi's manipulation had achieved its desired effect, leaving Musa with a heavy heart and a sense of impending regret. Torn between his wife and the child he had wronged, Musa reluctantly agreed, the weight of his decision pressing heavily on his shoulders. Okay, Busi, we'll do just that. Let me spend a couple of days with her alone so when I take her, she thinks it's normal. Busi's eyes were cold and unyielding. You can do whatever suits you. You have only a week, then she goes. Musa's heart ached with guilt and sorrow. Deep down, he knew it was wrong. But his fear of losing Busi and his desperation to keep their life together drove him to comply with her heartless demand. As he tried to spend those last days with Tetana, the dread of what lay ahead weighed on him, and the fleeting moments with his daughter only deepened his regret. The path he was on felt irreversible, yet he couldn't find the strength to defy Busi and do what he knew was right. The day they took Tetana to the orphanage was filled with heart-wrenching cries and desperate pleas. Daddy, where are we going? Tetana asked with excitement, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. It's a surprise, Musa replied, his throat choking with emotion. I like when it's just me and you, she smiled innocently. Can we also get some ice cream? Musa's heart ached as he looked at her through the rearview mirror, her bright eyes filled with trust. Anything for you, my princess, he said softly, trying to hold back his tears. The journey to the orphanage was filled with a heavy silence, the weight of the impending separation pressing down on Musa's heart. As they arrived, Tetana's curiosity and confusion grew. Daddy, what are we doing here? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. Why do you have my suitcase with you? She continued, watching Musa as he took the suitcase from the car boot. Where are we going? She asked again, sensing that something was terribly wrong. Musa's heart ached as he led Tetana to the caregivers, trying to hold back his own tears. He kissed her on the forehead, whispering a strained goodbye. Tetana's eyes widened with fear and desperation as she realized what was happening. She kicked and screamed, begging her father not to leave her. I will be a good girl, Daddy. Please don't leave me here, I promise. But Musa, torn apart by guilt and sorrow, turned his back and walked away without a second glance. The walls of the orphanage seemed to absorb the tension and sorrow, as Tetana's cries echoed through the halls. Musa's heart shattered with every step, leaving behind the anguished pleas of his daughter, who could not comprehend the cruel betrayal she was enduring. The orphanage became Tetana's new home, and she struggled to understand why her parents had abandoned her. At just 5 years old, she went from having her own room filled with toys to sharing a crowded space with other children. The abrupt change left her feeling lost and lonely. She would spend her days crying, seeking comfort in the windowsill as she watched the world outside. Memories of her loving nanny, who cared for her while her dad worked, and the constant disapproval from her mother, haunted her. Tetana longed for the sense of security and love she once knew, but now she was surrounded by unfamiliar faces and a life she couldn't comprehend. A week later, Tetana was sitting by the window when she saw her father's car pull up. Her mind raced with excitement, and she ran out screaming, "My father is here to fetch me!" But she felt a hand pulling her back. "Tetana, this is not your father. Come and play with the other children," the caretaker said gently. Tetana's heart sank as she returned to her room and sat by the window. There she saw her parents walking away with another child, a boy. She banged on the window, screaming in despair, but no one heard her cries as the car drove away, leaving her feeling more abandoned and heartbroken than ever. Growing up in the orphanage, Tetana felt a deep sense of abandonment and betrayal. She couldn't understand why her parents had left her behind, and the thought of them walking away with another child filled her with resentment. As Tetana grew older, her hatred towards her parents only intensified. The constant longing for a family and the unanswered questions about her past haunted her daily life. Her heart grew heavier with each passing year as she watched other children get adopted, while she remained unchosen and alone. This sense of rejection fueled her anger and resentment. Without a family to call her own, Tetana often found herself in conflicts, particularly with the boys at the orphanage. Her frustration and pain manifested as aggression, and she fought fiercely, struggling to find her place in a world that seemed to have abandoned her. The battles she fought were not just physical but also emotional, as she grappled with the deep-seated wounds of abandonment and the unending desire for answers and closure. Meanwhile, in the village, whispers of the family's dark secret began to spread. The story of how Amma had been framed by her own family and how her daughter was taken away became a topic of hushed conversations. Amma, burdened by guilt and sorrow, could never forget the pain of being falsely accused and losing her beloved Tetana. She longed to hold her daughter, constantly longing if only she was still alive and somewhere. Every year, on Tetana's birthday, Amma would write a heartfelt message and visit the grave that bore her daughter's name. She would spend hours there, keeping the site clean and speaking to the tombstone as if Tetana could hear her. The grave, though fake, was a place where Amma would pour out her love and grief, a small comfort in the face of her immense loss. The weight of her guilt and the longing for her daughter never left her heart, driving her to honor Tetana's memory in any way she could. Meanwhile, Busi and Musa's marriage began to crumble under the weight of their actions. The guilt and regret gnawed at Musa, while Amma's bitterness grew. The once strong bond between the sisters was shattered, leaving a trail of pain and betrayal in its wake. From time to time, Amma found solace in her faith and the support of her friends. She became close to a wise elder named Mama Kazaya, who offered guidance and comfort. Mama Kazaya encouraged Amma to find the strength to confront her past and seek redemption. While Amma harbored a desire to seek vengeance against her sister Busi, she had no idea how to go about it. She remembered someone in jail who can help with anything. With Mama Kazaya's help, Amma began to focus on herself and her future. Using her knowledge from working at a computer company, she devised a plan to get Musa to invest in a business she created. The business looked legitimate, and Musa was excited about the opportunity, believing his company had been chosen to invest in a promising new venture. Musa started with a small investment of 20,000, and within 48 hours, he received 40,000 in return. Thrilled by the quick profit, he eagerly discussed the opportunity with Busi, who was equally excited and saw it as a chance to fund a luxurious holiday. They decided to invest 50,000, and within another 48 hours, they received 100,000. Elated by their success, Musa and Busi decided to invest 100,000, using company funds with the hope of repaying it within 48 hours. However, this time, the expected return didn't materialize. Musa began to panic, trying to contact the business, but the lines were not going through. When he went to the office, he was shocked to find a "To Let" sign on the door. Devastated, Musa returned home, the weight of his actions pressing heavily on his shoulders. The following morning, his heart raced as his phone rang, displaying the CEO's name. Anxiety gripped him, and he hesitated to answer, knowing the inevitable confrontation awaited him. Summoning his courage, he picked up the call. "Musa, we need to meet in my office first thing this morning." The CEO's voice was stern and unwavering. Musa's stomach churned as he agreed, knowing this moment would come. Entering the CEO's office, the tension was palpable. Musa sat across from the CEO, his palms sweaty and his heart pounding in his chest. The CEO's piercing gaze met his, and he wasted no time getting to the point. "Musa, I've discovered the misuse of company funds," the CEO stated bluntly. "You took a significant amount of money without authorization and invested it in a fraudulent scheme. This is a serious breach of trust." Musa's throat felt dry, and he struggled to find his voice. I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. I was desperate and made a terrible mistake." The CEO's expression remained stern. "Apologies won't fix this, Musa. We need the money back within 48 hours, or you will face termination and potential legal action. This company cannot tolerate such behavior." Musa's heart sank further. The enormity of his actions weighed heavily on him, and the reality of his dire situation set in. He nodded, barely able to speak, and left the office with the crushing knowledge that he had only 48 hours to rectify his catastrophic mistake or face the devastating consequences. Unable to come up with the money, Musa was forced to resign, leaving him jobless and miserable. Busi's dreams of a holiday were shattered, and the couple faced the harsh reality of their situation. Meanwhile, Amma had taken the first step towards reclaiming her life, finding strength and purpose in her journey towards redemption. Using contacts she made while in jail, she set up a company that no one suspected her of owning, and used the money she made to build a comfortable life. One day, While visiting Mama Kazaya, she realized that Mama Kazaya had a guest. Her niece, the daughter of her half-sister who had passed away. Amma had not seen her niece in a long time. As they all sat chatting, her niece spoke about looking for a job. She mentioned how her boss had lost his job after an investment went wrong, turned into alcohol, and now faced the prospect of his wife divorcing him. Amma and Mama Kazaya exchanged glances as her niece continued to speak. Then came the shocking revelation. Karma has come back to haunt them, her niece said. Mama Kazaya, intrigued, asked, "What did they do?" Her niece continued, "Do you know that my boss exchanged his own daughter for a male child because his wife wanted a boy? They mistreated that poor child. She would sometimes ask me why her mother hated her. Before I worked for them, I heard from other workers that the sister of the wife was falsely accused of theft and sent to jail, leaving her baby with those wicked people. I overheard them discussing one day how the mother came back from jail only to be told the baby had died. These people are very wicked. Karma is paying them back. I don't even know which orphanage the child was taken to. I always tried to ask around, but eventually lost hope. I wanted to adopt her myself, even though I'm not married." The conversation left Amma reeling with emotions. Hearing about her own sister's betrayal, Amma was overwhelmed with questions and sorrow. She couldn't fathom why they hadn't just let her take care of her baby herself, instead of dumping her in an orphanage. The thought of how she had mourned for her daughter for years, only to discover the cruel truth, was too much for her to bear. She felt her knees failing her, and her heart filled with tears as the realization hit her. This couldn't be a coincidence. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, and the painful truth was staring her in the face. "I must leave now," Amma said to Mama Kazaya, standing abruptly. "I forgot I had a meeting," she added, her voice trembling as she rushed out the door. Her heart pounded, and her mind raced with the revelations, unable to comprehend the depths of the betrayal and the years of heartache she had endured. The weight of it all threatened to crush her, but she knew she had to find the strength to continue her search for her daughter. Tetana had turned 18 and found herself juggling multiple jobs to make ends meet. By day, she washed dishes in a bustling restaurant, and by night, she waitressed at a local diner. Determined to improve her circumstances, Tetana attended night school, working tirelessly to educate herself. Tetana preferred to be called Tanya at university. Everyone knew that name. While at university, she met Tabo, a young man from a wealthy family and the only son. Tabo was different from his rich friends, who often looked down on people from less privileged backgrounds. "Why do you keep talking to this girl?" one of his friends sneered. "Can't you see she isn't from our class?" Tabo, unbothered by his friend's remark, simply replied, "Let's go, you talk too much." He smiled warmly at Tetana, undeterred by their differences. As days turned into weeks, Tetana tried to push Tabo away, wary of getting too close to someone from a world so different from hers. But Tabo's kindness and persistence slowly began to melt her heart. She found herself developing a soft spot for him, despite her initial reservations. Life wasn't easy for Tetana. She faced countless challenges and setbacks, but her determination never wavered. She worked hard, balancing her jobs and studies, all the while building a budding friendship with Tabo. He became a source of support and encouragement, helping her stay focused on her goals. After years of relentless effort, Tetana finally graduated from university. Her achievement was a testament to her resilience and hard work. Tabo, recognizing her potential, used his connections to help her secure a job. It wasn't an easy path, but Tetana's perseverance had paid off. With Tabo by her side, Tetana began to build a new life for herself. She embraced her new job with enthusiasm, grateful for the opportunities that had come her way. The bond between Tetana and Tabo grew stronger, their relationship built on mutual respect and understanding. Musa's misery deepened, and he turned to drinking as a way to cope with his failures. He found solace in the bottle, but it only further exacerbated the problems in his life. Meanwhile, his relationship with Busi began to crumble. They had recently moved into a smaller house as their financial situation worsened, and their son was away at university. Musa struggled to find another job, as nobody trusted him after the scandal, not even his brother-in-law, who owned a company. Busi, determined to maintain her lifestyle, found work and made it clear that her money was hers alone. She frequently reminded Musa of his mistakes, saying, "I didn't ask you to take money from your work to invest. You put us in this situation, Musa. Be a man. Go find a job and do something." She shouted, frustration and anger evident in her voice. Musa felt the weight of his decisions crushing down on him. He often looked back and regretted how he had supported his wife to the point of exchanging their own daughter for a boy child. "I shouldn't have listened to her," he muttered to himself. "I must find my daughter. Maybe she will forgive me." With renewed determination, Musa decided to search for Tetana, hoping to make amends for his past actions and find some form of redemption. The path ahead was uncertain, but he knew that finding his daughter and seeking her forgiveness was his only chance at healing the wounds he had caused. Meanwhile, Alma was desperately searching for her daughter Tetana. Although she managed to gather some information from Mama Kazaya's niece, who had once worked for Musa and Busi, she still didn't know their current whereabouts. Filled with anger and a burning desire for answers, Alma was determined to find them. She knew that getting Musa arrested wouldn't help her situation, as he was still the father of her child, even though she had been taken away from her. With the help of her contacts from jail, Alma managed to trace Musa's location. When she finally found him, he was in a disheveled state, drowning his sorrows in alcohol. As soon as Musa saw Alma, he broke down in tears, apologizing profusely. "I'm so sorry, Alma. I didn't mean to do what I did. Busi talked me into it, and I was foolish. I regret everything. Please, find it in your heart to forgive me. You can call the police. I'm willing to go to jail. After all, I deserve it." Alma looked at Musa with a mixture of hate and anger. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "I just want my child back, Musa. If you're really sorry, then you will find her and bring her back to me." With that, she walked away in tears, her heart heavy with the weight of her grief and longing for her daughter. As Tetana navigated her new professional world, she never forgot the struggles she had endured or the lessons she had learned along the way. The memories of her past were always with her, a constant reminder of how far she had come and the obstacles she had overcome. Despite her achievements, Tetana struggled with trust issues and anger. Every time she remembered how her life had changed overnight and how she was replaced by a boy, a deep sense of betrayal and hurt welled up inside her. These unresolved emotions often surfaced, affecting her relationships and interactions with others. Determined to find closure, Tetana decided she was going to look for her parents. She needed answers, a way to understand why they had abandoned her and left her to fend for herself. The search for her parents became a driving force in her life, a mission that fueled her desire to confront her past and seek the truth. In her role as a lawyer, Tetana found that her trust issues and anger sometimes impacted her work. She was cautious about taking on sensitive cases, fearing that her emotions might cloud her judgment and affect her ability to represent her clients effectively. She avoided cases that hit too close to home, preferring to focus on legal matters that allowed her to maintain a professional distance. Despite these challenges, Tetana excelled in her career. Her determination and resilience shone through, earning her respect and admiration from her colleagues. However, the unresolved pain from her past remained a shadow over her achievements, reminding her that her journey was far from over. As she continued to build her career and search for her parents, Tetana knew that the road ahead would be difficult. But she also knew that facing her past was the only way to find the healing and peace she so desperately sought. Her journey was far from over, but she faced the future with hope and determination, ready to overcome any obstacles that came her way. The choices she had made and the connections she had forged would continue to shape her life in ways she could never have imagined. Tetana knew that finding her parents and uncovering the truth would not be easy, but her determination was unwavering. She decided to start by hiring a private investigator, hoping that professional help would increase her chances of success. After careful consideration, Tetana selected a reputable private investigator named Detective Masiko. He had a strong track record of solving complex cases and came highly recommended. Tetana met with Detective Masiko at his office, A dimly lit room filled with case files and old photographs. Detective Masiko, I need your help, Tetana began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. I need to find my parents. They abandoned me when I was a child, and I need to understand why. Detective Masiko listened intently, taking notes as Tetana shared her story. He could see the pain in her eyes and the determination in her voice. I understand, Tetana. Finding your parents and uncovering the truth will take time, but I'll do everything I can to help you, he assured her. With the investigator now on her side, Tetana felt a glimmer of hope. Detective Masiko began his work by gathering all available information about Tetana's past, including her childhood memories, the orphanage records, and any leads from people who might have known her family. As the days turned into weeks, Detective Masiko kept Tetana updated on his progress. The search was challenging, with many dead ends and false leads. But each piece of information brought them closer to the truth. Tetana's emotions were a roller coaster of hope and despair, but she remained resolute. One day, Detective Masiko called Tetana with a potential breakthrough. Tetana, I have some news. I found a lead that might help us locate your parents. It's not much, but it's a start, he said. I went to the orphanage and believed someone had been there asking about you. They didn't leave any details, but we're close. I left my contact information in case they return. The caregiver who was working there has retired, but I will find her. Tetana's heart raced as she listened to the details. The lead was a name. Someone who might have known her parents before they disappeared. It was a small piece of the puzzle, but it was enough to reignite her determination. She clung to the hope that this new information could finally bring her closer to uncovering the truth about her past and reuniting with her parents. The journey ahead was uncertain, but Tetana felt a renewed sense of purpose and was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The journey to uncover the truth and reconcile with her past was long and arduous, but Tetana was driven by the hope of finding answers and the strength to move forward. With Detective Masiko's help, she knew that she was one step closer to discovering the truth about her past and the reasons behind her parents' actions. The path ahead was still uncertain, but Tetana faced it with courage and unwavering resolve. One day, Tabo invited Tetana to meet his parents. Initially skeptical, Tetana eventually agreed, feeling a mix of nervousness and anticipation. Tabo lived in his own apartment, but he frequently checked on his parents. On a sunny Tuesday afternoon, Tabo picked up his phone and called his mother. "Mom, I would like to bring someone for you guys to meet," he said, his voice filled with excitement. "A friend I was in university with. How about Thursday evening? I'll come after work." His mother responded with warmth and curiosity. "That sounds wonderful, Tabo. We're looking forward to meeting your friend." Tetana felt a flutter of anxiety, but also a sense of hope. Meeting Tabo's parents was a significant step, and she was ready to embrace whatever came next with the same courage that had carried her through so many challenges. She wasn't ready to reveal much about her background. She always told Tabo that her parents had died, and he didn't know much about her time in the orphanage. This was a chapter Tetana wanted to close in her life, but she knew she would only find closure and peace once she located her parents. Although she wasn't yet ready for a serious relationship, she loved Tabo, and he understood that she had a lot to deal with and was willing to give her the time she needed to heal. He called her Tanya, the name she preferred to be called in university, which brought her comfort. Thursday evening came, and Tabo picked her up. As they walked into his parents' house, Tetana's heart pounded with nervous anticipation. She took a deep breath, reminding herself of the strength and resilience that had carried her this far. She was ready to take this step and face whatever lay ahead. Tetana met both of Tabo's parents, feeling a mix of anxiety and hope. Musa, Tabo's father, would occasionally steal glances at her. "So you said your name is Tanya. Where are you from? And who are your parents? What do they do?" he asked. "What's with all the questions, Musa? You're scaring her," Busi said with a smile. "I don't think your intimidation will work.